You could be losing out on potential customers because your decision-making content for your customers is not up to par. We're going to break down exactly how to improve upon it. You probably are noticing this is a series of episodes that we are talking about when we're talking about a customer journey. So you're going to want to make sure that you go back and listen to those episodes. You also want to make sure that if you haven't grabbed our strategic growth plan guide, that you do so. It is linked for you in the comments so that you can make sure that you have that. All right, let's jump into this. The decision-making stage of the customer journey. You have a customer, you have a potential customer that is ready to purchase. They're ready to buy, they're ready to make that leap and trust you with being able to solve their problem. Now, we have talked about the customer journey, the two other stages, because there's a total of 3, and we're in that final stage. The first stage that we talked about was awareness. We have a video that you can actually go to. We're going to link to it in the comments so that you make sure that you can grab that. The next stage is the consideration phase. We also broke that down explicitly, talked about where to use it, and also the metrics to keep an eye on so that you know whether or not it's actually impacting what you were attempting to do, which is, of course, get your audience to become a customer. Now, the final stage of the customer journey is the decision stage. And you're going to notice that some of the decision stage is similar to consideration, because in order for them to make the decision, they have to have that consideration. So there will be some crossover with where you are actually trying to impact them and also how you are trying to impact them. So you will see some of those definite comparisons in the 2 phases. There are a couple things that a buyer is looking for when it comes to the decision-making stage. The first thing that they're going to look at is they're looking to make sure that they're going to hit their ROI. Are they going to get their return on investment by purchasing your product or service? So they're also going to be looking for testimonials, social signals that show that others have actually had the overall that found that your product or service solves the problem. So they're going to be specifically looking for these types of things. So let's break down the decision-making stage. What we are specifically talking about is a person is trying to make the decision about whether or not to buy your product or service. They're trying to choose between you and someone else. They know they have a problem. They can see that you have the solution. They are going through and they're past the point of actually doing the research, which is more of the consideration phase. Now what they are doing is trying to make that decision. So they have pretty much seen everything that you have. They know that you can solve the problem. They just need to make sure that you are the right person. And there are specific ways that you can actually do that. They are also going to look to make sure that your sales page is clear. They know exactly what they are getting. There is no misunderstanding about the potential pricing or their options. So this is going to be very key in making sure that you are clear on what it is that you are offering, what the assets are, and what the price is, potentially with different levels that you may be offering. It's also important in this stage that they can trust you. So they not only are looking for testimonials, potential people, social proof on social that have seen it, but they also are looking to see on your sales page that you are empathetic, that you understand the problem that they have, that you can solve the problem, and the way in which you can do it is going to be a good fit for them. There are a couple different key content types that are going to help you get them through this stage. One in particular is going to be making sure that you have a comparison of going from where they are now to where they will go once they go through your program. So you want to be able to show them the differences between where they are and where you want them to end up. You also, in this stage, are going to want to show them any case studies, any previous clients that have gone through. What have they actually seen in improvement in their life? So that's going to be an important piece of what you can potentially offer. You may also want to offer a demo, depending upon what your program consists of. Will it be a membership? Will it actually have a course? What are they getting? And you may want to be showing them the back end so that they know exactly what to expect when they get in there. And that it's going to be easily accessible, maybe not too tech heavy, depending upon who your audience is. So demos are going to be another great way that you can make sure that you are showing and getting your people to make that decision to purchase with you. Another great spot is to do a webinar where you may be having a live question and answer to ask and answer any questions that they may have and to almost help them get pushed over the edge, to see that you are the right person, that you are empathetic and really understand their problem and overall want to see them solve that problem. That is the sole purpose of you putting this out there. When you can show that you are creating a product or service from a heart-led space, that is going to make a huge difference to your audience. They're going to be able to see that you truly are doing this from a place of wanting them to be able to solve their problem so that they can have a better life, a better way of in which they are doing everything. So this is going to be key to keep in mind when you are going through. Anytime you can do anything live where you get on screen with them and they can actually see how passionate you are about what it is that you offer is going to help you a ton. You also may want to do something about why choose us, whether it is via an email. What makes you different? This is where the unique value proposition is going to be key. What makes you different from everyone else out there? So that is going to be another piece of content that you're going to be able to put out there in order to help them through this decision-making stage. In order to help people get through this stage, there's a couple different things that you can do. You're going to want to make sure that you have strong calls to action, that they understand that you want them to obviously come into the program, but it can't be weak. It needs to be join us now, excited about what it is that we're doing. Show them what the next steps are so that they know the action that you want them to take. You also really want to make sure that you are emphasizing differentiators. What sets you apart? What makes you totally different than everything else out there? And you also want to make sure that you are personalizing as much as possible. So sending them emails that are part of a nurture sequence is great. But if you can have a conversation with them where they're hitting reply or asking those questions, especially if they've come in via a webinar or where you're doing a live question and answer, this is going to help tremendously to help them get past and onto the decision-making stage where they are going to purchase your product or service. The biggest mistakes that I have seen when it comes to the decision-making process is that many people are forgetting to have the social proof. They're not showing that there are others out there that have actually had a transformation from the product or service. So whether you're doing this through a case study, whether you're lacking of testimonials, you want to make sure that you have those there. The other big thing that I see a mistake being made is that objections are not being hit head on. I'm not seeing people actually myth bust, get through any sort of objections that they're going to have. You know your audience. You know that there are certain things that they have always said, oh, why I don't need this product or why I do need this product. You want to make sure that you actually hit on those. Show them how this is the right fit for them. There's no question about it, that you are the right person for it. The last mistake that I want to talk about is overwhelming people with too many options. You don't need to have 4 different plans. You don't need to tell them every single thing that is offered in the program as far as assets. You really want to make sure that you are focusing on the transformation that you are going to give them. That is what is going to make a difference in their decision-making process and taking that leap with you. I hope by now that you have seen that these 3 phases, when put together into your content to make sure that you're hitting on your customer journey where they're at, is going to be key in actually getting people, your audience, from just passerbyers that kind of look at things to actual customers that are willing to buy your products or services. And I think a key piece of this is that we often get persuaded and have the thought process that sales is icky. I don't want to have to do sales. Well, as you can see, it's not about doing the sales. It's about showing them that the transformation is available to them and walking them through this journey to see that it is the perfect fit for them. When you do that, it is authentic. They are going to want to purchase, and they're probably going to want to continue to come back to you. Tell me in the comments which mistake you potentially are making right now when it comes to the decision-making stage for your audience. What are you missing? I'd love to know.